probably someone coming to deliver the letter.
Ooh, let me get out.
Won't you begin? Thank you. You're from out of town? Yes, we've come all the way from Milwaukee. We're here for Mardi Gras. My husband and I. Such a small cage for a little bird. It's much too small to keep a canary in. It isn't a live canary.
No, it's stuffed.
Oh. Winston's out there dilly-dallying. Afraid he'll miss the parade. It does run by here, don't it? Yes, unfortunately it does. Oh. Thank you. I noticed your sign up front. Is it true that you're one of Lord Byron's love letters?
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. How did you get it?
It was written to my grandmother, Irene Margarita Poitevin.
How very interesting. Where did she meet Lord Byron?
On the steps of the Acropolis in Athens.
How very, very interesting. I wasn't aware that Lord Byron was over in Greece.
Lord Byron spent the final years of his turbulent life in Greece.
He was exiled from England
Yes, he went into voluntary exile from England.
due to scandalous gossip in the regent's court.
Yes.
It was false.
It was never confirmed.
He was a passionate man, but not an evil.
Morals are such ambiguous matters, I think.
Won't the lady behind the curtain come in?
You'll have to excuse her. She prefers to stay out.
Oh. What was Lord Byron doing in Greece? May I
Fighting
ask?
for freedom.
Yes, Lord Byron went to Greece to join the force that fought against the tyrants.
He gave his life in the universal cause of freedom.
What was that? What did you say?
He gave his life in defense of the universal cause of freedom.
Oh, very interesting.
Also, he swam the Hellespont.
Yes.
And he burned the body of the poet Shelley, who drowned in the Mediterranean on a storm with the body of Keats in his pocket.
Pardon?
And he burned the body of the poet Shelley, who drowned in a storm on the Mediterranean with the volume of Keats in his pocket.
Oh. How very, very interesting. Indeed, I'd love so much for my husband Winston to hear. He's just right outside. Do you mind if I grab him?
Please do.
Thank you. Winston! Winston!
Watch them carefully. Keep a sharp eye on them.
Yes, be still.
So sorry. Put the cap on. Please, please, do sit down. They were just telling me about how they have one of Lord Byron's love letters.
Shall I proceed?
Yes. This is Mr. Tutwiler, my husband.
How do you do?
And I'm Mrs. Tutwiler.
Of course, please keep your seat.
Right. This young lady was telling us about her grandmother and how she met Lord Byron in Italy, wasn't it?
No.
No, in Greece, in Athens. I believe we said that twice already. Ugh. Ariadne, you can show them a passage from the journal first. Please be careful what you choose to read.
Like many other young American girls in Latin this, my grandmother went to Europe.
The year before she was meant to be presented to society.
How old was she?
16! Barely 16 and really beautiful, too. Show them the picture in the front of the journal.
What a lovely young girl. Doesn't she remind you a little bit of Agnes?
Oh, watch out, Ariadne! Watch out, that man's been drinking! I do believe that he's been drinking.
Yeah, what is she saying back there?
Winston! Do be quiet.
Near the end of her tour, my grandmother and aunt went to Greece to study the classic remains of the oldest civilization.
The oldest European civilization.
It was an early morning in April of the year 1827.
27.
Yes. In my grandmother's journal, she mentions
Oh,
that...
read it!
Yes, please read it to us.
She I'm just trying to find my place. I feel to be patient.
Certainly. Excuse me. Winston.
Oh, here it is. We set out early that morning to inspect the ruins of the Acropolis. I know I shall never forget how extraordinarily pure the atmosphere was that morning. It seemed as though the world were not very old, but very, very young, almost as though the world had been newly created. So, there was a taste of earliness in the air, a feeling of freshness, exhilarating my senses, exalting my spirits. How shall I tell you, dear diary, the way the sky looked? It was almost as though I had moistened the tip of my pen in a shallow bowl of milk. So delicate was the blue in the dome of the heavens. The sun was barely up yet. A tentative breeze disturbed the ends of my scarf, the plumes of my marvelous hat, which I bought in Paris, and thrilled me with pride whenever I saw them reflected. The papers that morning, we read them over our coffee before we left the hotel, had spoken of possible war, but it seemed unreal. Nothing was real, indeed, but the rose-colored romance that breathed
Oh,
from
skip
the
that
fabulous...
part. Get on to where she needs him.
Yes. Out of the tongues of ancients, the lyrical voices of many long-ago poets who dreamed of the world of ideals, who had in their hearts...
Oh, skip that part. Get on to where...
Yes, here! Do let us manage without any more interruptions! The carriage came to a halt at the foot of the hill, and my aunt, not being too well that morning,
Oh, she
decided-
did have a sore throat.
preferred to remain with the driver while I undertook the rather steep climb on foot. As I ascended the long and crumbling flight of old
Oh,
stones...
yes, that's the part. Go on, Ariadne.
I could not help observing continually above me a man
Yes, Lord Byron.
who walked with a barely perceptible limp, and as he turned now and then to observe beneath him the lovely panorama of...
Actually, he was watching a woman behind
Will you let
him.
me finish? I was irresistibly impressed by the unusual nobility and refinement of his features.
The most handsome man to ever walk the earth.
The strength and grace of his throat, like that of a statue. The classic outlines of his profile, the sensitive lips and dilated nostrils, and the dark lock of hair that fell
Oh,
over his...
skip that part. It goes on for pages.
When he had reached the very summit of the Acropolis, he spread out his arms in a great, magnificent gesture, like that of a young god. Now, thought I to myself, Apollo has come to earth in modern dress.
Oh, can you skip that part and get on to where she needs him?
Fearing to interrupt his poetic trance, I slackened my pace and pretended to watch the view. I kept my look as carefully averted, until the narrowness of the steps compelled me to move close by him.
Of course, he pretended not to see her coming.
And then finally I faced him. Our
Yes.
eyes came together. A thing which I don't quite understand had occurred between us. A flush, as if recognition swept through
Yes,
my whole
yes,
being,
that's the part.
suffused my cheeks. And pardon me, he exclaimed, you've dropped your glove. And indeed, to my surprise, I found that I had. As he returned it to me, his fingers ever so slightly pressed the cups of my...
Oh, yes.
Believe me, dear diary, I became quite faint and breathless. I almost wondered if I could continue my lonely walk through the ruins. Perhaps I stumbled. Perhaps I swayed a little. I leaned for a moment against the side of the column. The sun seemed terribly brilliant. It hurt my eyes. Close behind me, I heard that voice again. Almost it seemed I could feel his breath on
Oh,
my...
stop! There. That'll be quite enough.
Oh. Is that all?
Oh, there's plenty more. It's just not meant to be read to people.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I can show you the letter.
Yes. Yes, that'd be amazing. Winston, do sit up.
Thank you.
Watch them carefully, Ariadne. That woman cannot open the letter.
Oh, no, you mustn't. The contents of the letter are strictly private. I'll hold it over here at a little distance so you can see the writing.
Not too close. She's squinting.
A short while later, Byron was killed.
How did he die?
He was killed in action, defending the universal cause of freedom.
When my grandmother received the news of Lord Byron's death in battle, she retired from the world. and remained in complete seclusion for the rest of her life.
How dreadful. I think that was very foolish of her.
Ahem!
You don't understand. Once a life is completed, it ought to be put away. It's like a sonnet. Once you've written the final couplet, why go on any further? You'll only destroy what's already been written.
How about you read them the poem that your grandmother wrote to the memory of Lord Byron?
Would you be interested?
Yes, we love that.
It's called Enchantment. En saison enchantée, I mused beguiled. Seeing time herself, her erstwhile errant ways, briefly forgotten, she stayed here and smiled, caught in a net of blue and golden days.
It's not blue and golden, it's golden azure days.
Caught in a net of golden azure days. But I lacked wit to see how lightly shewn were time and you to vacancy so used, that by the touch of one October moon, from summer's tranquil spell you might be loosed. Think you, love's writ on my soul with chalk, to be washed off by a few parting tears, then you know not with what slow step I walk, the barren way of those hibernal years.
My life a vanished interlude,
A shell whose walls are your first kiss and last farewell.
What's that? What's that? Is that the parade?
Oh, come on, Mama! You're gonna miss it!
Winston! Our reporter! You see, he's gone off through the crowd. I'm so sorry. I have to...
Bloody Canile!
God cheated us?
Yes!
Hey,
The Canile!
my letter, Ariadne, my letter's on the floor. Your grandfather's letter's on the floor.
Yeah!